My first one here is from Tree of Life. It says with a conversion rate of 2.266% in the store, I would expect one purchase for every 44 visitors. However, my store visitors never reach this number. Okay, so what I'm confused here because I don't know if this is your actual conversion rate or if that's just a projection. Because the next thing you're talking about is your store visitors never reach this number. So does that mean you're not getting 44 visitors to the site each day? Or is it not converting at this number? I'm confused here, okay? Because if it was actually converting at this, then all you'd have to do is get your 44 visitors there each day. That's what I'm not understanding. So you're gonna need to explain a little bit more clearly exactly what your issue is right now so that we can help you with that. This more than likely comes down to how you're previewing the ad. So if you could please explain how you're viewing the ad here, because that's going to affect how you see any social proof that's building up on a dynamic ad. This ad may not actually have any of that social proof on it is the thing. So, depending on how you're viewing it, that's going to affect what you see on there and what you don't on the dynamic creative. So I'm going to need you to explain how you're going about getting this screenshot that you're showing us here. All right. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to attempt to answer what you're doing, but more than likely it's just something that it can only be two things. You're either viewing it in a way where it's not showing you the social proof, or the ad doesn't have the social proof on it that you think it does. Bottom line. All right, so Hardip left a question here about this part that shows up actually on the ad level when you're creating an ad now, and this is automatically checked box where they are allowing additional optimization. So what Facebook will do is they'll try to, automatically select thumbnails, like put star ratings if you have them, change the background colors. They'll vary up some of the elements for you in an attempt to get better results. Ever since that's been in my account, because it's ticked on automatically, I've been leaving it on. My ads have been performing really well using a lot of the defaults. So I try to make everything work with the defaults that Facebook has in there, and that being one of them. So I would recommend just leaving it on and see what happens for you specifically. Okay, so we have this big question here from Daniel, and I went through this, and basically the gist of it is he's trying to get into the market of selling, training and stuff like that to other digital agency owners through a funnel, and he's built this funnel with an ad, and it just hasn't worked really at all. And he's got some of these questions here about the ad. So now based on this thing, it worked for a little while and then it bombed. That's because it was in the learning phase more than likely, or you got some kind of negative feedback on this creative. So whatever reason, when I click the show ad, the whole thing's not showing up in my news feed. But here's a few of my thoughts. So first of all, you're stepping into an extremely crowded space right now. There's all sorts of people that are trying to teach agency owners different things. And there are people that haven't even really had much experience. They don't have a lot of credibility. There's just a massive amount of people that are in this space right now. And there's a lot of hatred towards people that are advertising in this space right now. So, you got, if you want to try to compete in this market, you're going to have to come correct at every single level with lots of proof, lots of credibility and stuff like that. Now, just from a creative standpoint here, I think there's a lot of issues with the beginning of your ad, honestly, because the form of this question is just kind of weird. So is your digital agency profitable enough? If yes, you're welcome to skip. Or it reads really weird, and then you're telling people to just move on from your ad. And then it's if you're not profitable enough, you are. And then you're telling people these things that they're, not doing, which are all, and I can't see all this, but this one right here, it's all basic shit that other people have already been telling them they're not doing, right? So there isn't anything from what I can see, there's nothing really new here. I'm not sure if your image is really, appealing to people, and that comes across in the results that you're getting from the ad, right? Because, even though the CTR was above 1%, that's not that good. That's the minimum to what we're looking for. And then if it bombed, more than likely what happened is you had some people file negative feedback on this. This is the kind of creative, especially in this market, that's going to get people really quickly to hit, I don't want to see this. And that will take an ad from working to not working immediately. Right. So that's more than likely what happened here is you got hit with some negative feedback on this thing. And that's why it's not performing and why it tanked like that. That's really the only reason why things will tank is because either the users are saying they don't want to see it, or Facebook's algorithm is using the different things that they put in there to predict that people won't want to see it, and then they dive bomb it on you. And there's a lot of different elements that can contribute to that. Part of that being just the activity on here. So whether, if people don't click, I don't want to see this, they will, if the conversion numbers are low, if the user experience is bad, they have a lot of different ways they measure that stuff. It's all wrapped up in the relevance score metrics, which they've broken out into different ranking statistics. If you're getting bad statistics there, they could just dive bomb it because they say all they're doing is predicting stuff. Okay. So, your creative is definitely going to be a big chunk of the issue. It could be the landing page as well. I can't see that because it won't let me open the ad in the news feed. When I click this, it opens a window, but the ad doesn't show in the feed, so I can't see it all. I can't click through to the landing page from here and you didn't put a link in the thread. So it could be something on the landing page too. If it's loading slow or whatever, there may be some elements there as well. Now you're talking about lead ads. So here's the thing. Like a lot of people, they put together something like this. They put together a funnel and they put together an ad and it doesn't work. And then they're like, I got to go try a whole other thing, right? Like, I used lead ads for this thing. And so, maybe I should use lead ads because, this didn't work. But the problem is, and the reason this didn't work is because the creative and the offer are not good, okay? It's not because you use the conversion ad and you need to do a lead ad. It's that you need to improve your offer and your creative. All right. And it's certainly not about testing new audiences necessarily. I don't even know what audiences you tested. So, there could be an issue there, but just looking at the creative, I would be like 99.99999% sure that it's a creative and offer issue and not an audience issue, although there could be a slight audience issue, but you'd want to improve the creative and retest audiences anyways. And that's it. So, definitely not going to lead ads is going to solve the problem, especially if you use the same poopy creative. So you're going to have to go back to the drawing board, get a much better creative put together, a much better hook. Because, right now you're using how to get high paying agency clients. That's so played out. I was using that headline 3 years ago, it's just not what people are looking for now. So, you're entering. My advice would be would ultimately be to not be in this space because you're competing against guys that are much better at this and have been established for a long time. Technically, kind of including myself because I have a lot of people that come to me for agency help, right? So you're barking up a wall that more than likely isn't going to produce the results for you that you're looking for. So you can keep going down the path, but you're going to have to improve your offer, you're going to have to improve your creative, and you're going to have to come with a lot more proof if you want to try to swim in these shark-infested waters. Hey, man, so, I'm looking at your ad, and, obviously it's in Spanish, so I can't tell, I don't speak Spanish, so I can't tell what's being said there and how that conveys to the landing page, but every time I click over, this is what I'm getting when I'm even getting that when I click over from the next step in the funnel process that you had listed here. So even when I click this link, it takes me to the same thing. So I don't know what your users are seeing. I'm not sure how you're able to get any of this data, but the funnel's not even working right for me. So, that would be a pretty big indicator as to why nobody would be buying. I'm not sure how you're getting opt-ins unless people are giving you their information on that page. I didn't want to put anything in there. It just looked really strange to me. If that's the user experience that people are going through, that's going to disrupt everything. The other piece is the creative that's being used along with who you're targeting and how that relates to the offer. All right. So, notwithstanding all the tech issues, like that needs to be fixed. So whatever's happening there is more than likely what your users are seeing. And if that's the case, that's going to screw the whole thing up, first of all. So you got to get your text sorted first. And then once the text sorted, then run some clean traffic through there. And if you're having the same results, then you got to break down the the creative and the offer and the audiences that are being targeted and make sure that the offer is something that people want and we're building the value of it properly and positioning it properly. And then we got to make sure that we're using the right kind of ad to the right audiences to bring people in front of that offer. That's how we make this stuff work. So, I can't analyze any of that because I don't speak Spanish fluently. I mean, I know a few words like hola, and so I can't analyze any of that for you to give you any initial ideas there, but just going through the user experience, if that's what people are seeing, then you're going to have a problem. Okay, so that needs to get fixed. All right, Danny, so you're having some problems with your pixel tracking the leads. So the one thing that will typically happen here with ClickFunnels is when you go to create your custom conversions, you're using the URL parameter, and a lot of people, when they put in their custom conversion, so first of all, you got to make sure that when you go here, there could be multiple ad accounts here. In the default, like this isn't my actual ad account. My actual ad account is this one right here. So you may be creating your custom conversion off of something that's not the same pixel. So you got to make sure that this shows the same ad account with the same pixel that you're using, right? So that's one thing, because it'll still show, like if I go back, it'll show that data on there that it's tracking, but it's not that the pixel activity is there, but it's not going to track back to the actual ads. So the other thing is when you create your custom conversion, if your thank you page, a lot of people put this portion of the URL in here and then whatever.clickfunnels.com. They put the https:// and even the www. If you include those portions of the URL here, when you create this, it won't fire off properly, especially inside of ClickFunnels. So, if your URL is, all right, so let's just say this is your URL here, all right? So you got to copy the portion that shows up before or after the www or the http://, all right? And this is going to be your thank you page URL that you put in here if you want to track the registrations. Now, if that's a dynamic thank you page, then you got to make sure that you're only using the portion of the URL that's static, that's unique to the thank you page. Because you could be, like if you're using EverWebinar, for example, the thank you pages will be dynamic and they'll have like a URL string, a portion of the URL string that changes with each page. So you've got to only put the static portion of the URL in there. We have some pretty extensive stuff on this inside of Bootcamp 2.0, but those are the ways to try to troubleshoot that. All right, Jason's got a strategy question. Basically, his retargeting campaigns aren't popping off, and it's an e-com brand. He wants to know what kind of messaging or ad structure would you recommend? So the basic level that we put in is just with the DPA ads. So using the catalog sales objective, we'll put together DPA ads, and usually the message is, "Hey, you didn't complete your checkout. If you come back now, you can use this coupon code to get an extra blank % off." Right? So it's "Hey, you didn't complete your checkout. Here's an extra incentive." Or you can add a bonus if they go check out now. Like you want to, it's basically adding some type of incentive in the form of a discount or a bonus and reminding them of the benefits, and that works really well. Aside from that, you can tell stories, you can use testimonials in the retargeting. What you're trying to do is overcome objections and give more proof in different forms to get people to be ready to purchase. And that's basically what we do. There isn't any other real rock solid frameworks that you need to work with. If you're using those two, you can generate a lot of extra sales with your retargeting. You just got to keep playing around with the message specific to your market. Like that's why I'm giving you like frameworks here, because the messaging is going to be different for every single market. All right, so Daniel's asking about this ad here, and he thinks that the reach is really low, and he's not sure why. So I'm trying to understand why you think the reach is low and why that matters, right? Because ultimately, the only thing that matters is it looks like you're generating leads here, and there hasn't been a single lead generated, okay? So Facebook isn't going to give you more reach if you're not hitting the objective of the campaign, right? So something in your creative and your process and your offer is not resonating with the audiences that you're targeting because they're not, and it looks like you're using lead forms again here. They're not completing the lead form. So if people aren't going to complete the objective, Facebook then charges you more money. And as Rory pointed out, you're paying like $100 CPM already. And that's going to limit your ability to get reach for the price that you're paying. And I think that's what the issue is you think you should get more reach for what you're paying. But the fact of the matter is that's not how it works because it's an auction. And if your stuff doesn't perform well to the objective that you have, then you're not going to get the reach. So, you're going to have to improve your creative quite a bit. I mean, I can see, we've got some things in the headline that can happen. This kind of thing above the URL here, that's a scary looking link that could cause people to not want to click. Now, I don't know like what happens with this learn more. I guess they must be going to a Infusionsoft page. So, I'm not sure like with this, if you're optimizing to the lead standard event here, or if that's a lead form. Either way, no leads are happening, and that's affecting the objective quite a bit. Now, I'm not sure who you're targeting with this ad. Usually we're going after, older women, so I don't think that the image is in alignment with the type of person that you're targeting. So that's first off. I think your hook needs to be improved quite a bit. And without seeing the landing page and stuff, I don't know if that's even an offer that people want. So that's what I see as the problems here. All right, so Danny's got some copy that he wants some feedback on. Let's see here. So we're doing a webinar teaching how to grow your yoga brand on Instagram. All right, so now one thing that I see here with your question here is this is more of a question to men. All right, so the concept of getting to the next level and stuff like that, that's a male concept that men respond to. So I'm assuming, based on the imagery, is that you're more than likely going to be targeting women here. I didn't see anything about that in here, but I'm assuming that. Now, if that's true, then we're going to want to change that question to have something more like, are you looking to have more impact on people through your yoga practice, right? Or your yoga business. I'm not sure if they use the word brand or not. And they definitely don't respond to the concepts of like next level and more followers, more paying clients. They want to have impact, and then they want the money that follows from that. Okay. I think I would also build up this story a bit more. And I don't like the promise of we're going to, tell them how to do the same thing of building 100,000 organic followers with an international business, because that's not really true. Like they're not, you're going to show them how she did that, but the chance of these people doing the same thing is not true. So, I would be more like, I'm going to show you how I did it so that you can use these techniques in your business as well. That's just a more honest statement. Okay, so I'm not clear where this whole idea of the design stuff comes in here too. It's kind of thrown into the middle, like my design work. Like it's just I don't know how that applies. So I really feel like this needs to be fleshed out a lot more. It's kind of all over the place, and these concepts don't tie together very well in that copy. So yeah, I mean, I would probably tell that story. I would flesh out that story a lot more, and then get the language to speaking to women and their concepts a bit better than what you got here. I think there's a lot of room for improvement there.